Ma'am, you need to move along. This is a private corporate event, not a place for people like you. The security guard's words slice through the marble lobby like a blade. Around them, executives in $1,000 suits freeze mid-conversation. Champagne glasses hover in mid-air. All eyes turn to watch the humiliation unfold. The woman he's addressing doesn't flinch. Elegant, composed, wearing a simple black dress that somehow commands more respect than every designer suit in the room. What happens next exposes a web of corporate corruption so deep it triggers the largest discrimination lawsuit in the company's 40-year history. But the real shock? This isn't just about racism. It's about a $2.3 billion cover-up that reaches the very top. Have you ever been invisible in a room full of people who should know exactly who you are? 10 minutes until the keynote address. The 47th floor of Meridian Tower gleams like a corporate cathedral. Crystal chandeliers cast rainbow fragments across Italian marble. 200 of the most powerful people in tech mingle beneath floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city skyline. This is Pinnacle Industries' annual shareholders' gala, Fortune 500 royalty, the kind of event where billion-dollar deals get whispered over caviar and champagne. The security guard's voice rises, cutting through the ambient chatter. I said move. We've had problems with people trying to sneak in, hoping to steal from these events. Conversations halt. Phone cameras emerge from Hermes purses and Armani pockets. The woman stands perfectly still, her dark eyes scanning the crowd with an expression that's impossible to read. Some people have no shame, smirks board member Richard Torres, loud enough for half the room to hear. Nervous laughter ripples through the gathering. A black man sees the HR director Sarah appears, her heels clicking against marble like a countdown timer. Security, please escort this person out quietly. We can't have disruptions tonight. The woman reaches into her purse. Not frantically, not defensively. With deliberate, almost ceremonial precision. She pulls out what appears to be a simple black card, running her thumb along its edge. For just a moment, the light catches an embossed symbol, a golden phoenix, wings spread wide. She speaks for the first time. Her voice is steady, controlled, carrying the kind of authority that makes people lean forward despite themselves. I think there's been a misunderstanding, but perhaps this is exactly what needed to happen. 8 minutes until keynote. More security arrives. 3 guards now form a loose semicircle. The crowd presses closer, drawn by the magnetic pull of public humiliation. Someone starts live streaming. Y'all, this is wild, a voice whispers into a phone. Some lady just crashed the Pinnacle Gala and security is about to drag her out. The woman pulls out her phone, not to call for help, not to document her own harassment. She types a message, 2 words. Then hits send. The message reads, "It's time." HR Director Sarah's face goes pale. She grabs the head of security by the arm, whispering urgently, "Handle this quickly, if this gets out, especially tonight." She doesn't finish the sentence, but her panic bleeds through every word. 6 minutes until keynote. The building manager arrives, his security badge swaying as he strides across the lobby. "We're calling the police. This is trespassing on private property." Social media explodes. Pinnacle scandal starts trending. Comments flood in faster than anyone can read them. The live stream viewer count climbs. 500, 800, 1,500 people watching in real time. Board members huddle in nervous clusters, their voices dropping to urgent whispers. But the woman remains unnaturally calm. She doesn't argue, doesn't defend herself, doesn't even look particularly concerned. Her phone buzzes. She glances at the screen and does something that makes every person in that room deeply uncomfortable. "Diversion? She smiles. 4 minutes until keynote. CEO Marcus Webb storms across the lobby, his face flushed with rage. What the hell is this circus? Do you people have any idea what tonight means for this company? The woman's smile widens. Marcus, we need to talk. All of us. Right now. The room goes dead silent. She used his first name. With authority. With familiarity. With the kind of casual confidence that suggests she has every right to be there. Webb's face drains of color. His mouth opens, then closes. For a moment, the most powerful CEO in the tech industry looks like he's seen a ghost. 3 people in the crowd suddenly step forward. Not aggressively, not dramatically, but with purpose. They're dressed like regular guests, but something about their positioning suggests they're anything but random attendees. 2 minutes until keynote. The security guards look confused. The crowd murmurs with growing unease. The live stream viewer count hits 3,000 and climbing. This is harassment, Webb finally manages. You're trespassing on private property. Security, remove her immediately. The woman tilts her head slightly, studying him like a scientist examining a particularly interesting specimen. Are you absolutely certain you want to do that, Marcus? Her tone hasn't changed, still calm, still controlled, but now there's something else underneath. Something that makes grown men in $1,000 suits take unconscious steps backward. Because once this goes too far, once you cross that line, there's no going back, no fixing it, no making it disappear. The golden phoenix on her card catches the light again. This time, several people notice it. Board members exchange glances. Someone whispers, "What is that symbol?" 1 minute until keynote. The woman raises her voice. Not shouting, not angry, but with the unmistakable authority of someone who's accustomed to being heard in rooms exactly like this one. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the disruption, but I think it's time we all learned something important about assumptions. She holds up the black card. The golden phoenix gleams under the crystal chandeliers. Allow me to introduce myself properly. The keynote was supposed to start 30 seconds ago, but nobody moves toward the auditorium. 200 of the most powerful people in corporate America stand frozen, phones recording, hearts pounding, as they witness something that will be replayed millions of times before midnight. The woman stands in the center of it all, that black card held high like a weapon. I'm Dr. Amara Phoenix. The name hits the room like a physical blow. Champagne glasses slip from nerveless fingers, shattering against marble. Someone gasps. Someone else swears under their breath. But she's not done. CEO and majority shareholder of Phoenix Dynamics. Marcus Webb's face goes from pale to gray to green. Sarah actually staggers backward, her hand pressed against her throat. The security guards look around desperately, as if hoping someone will tell them what to do with a situation that just became infinitely more complicated. Phoenix Dynamics, the tech acquisition firm that's been systematically buying up smaller companies for the past decade. The ghost corporation that operates in the shadows, accumulating power while staying invisible to the public eye. And as of 6 p.m. today, Dr. Phoenix pauses, letting the silence stretch until it becomes unbearable. The live stream viewer count climbs past 5,000. Comments flood the screen faster than anyone can read them. Phoenix Dynamics officially completed its acquisition of Pinnacle Industries for $2.3 billion. The room erupts, not in celebration, in chaos, in panic, in the kind of corporate terror that comes when your entire world shifts beneath your feet in the span of a single sentence. Board members frantically pull out phones, calling lawyers, calling assistants, calling anyone who might be able to explain how this happened without their knowledge. But their calls go to voicemail. Their texts go unanswered. Because everyone who matters already knows. Marcus! Dr. Phoenix says, her voice cutting through the mayhem like a conductor's baton. Sarah! Board members, you've just provided me with the most valuable gift imaginable. She gestures to the crowd, to the cameras, to the live stream that's now being watched by over 8,000 people in real time. Tuesday. Live documentation of systematic discrimination within the company I now own. The security guards step back, suddenly understanding that they're not dealing with a trespasser, they're dealing with their new boss. The woman they were about to physically remove from the building now controls their paychecks. But here's what you don't know yet. Dr. Phoenix continues, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carries to every corner of the massive lobby. For the past 6 months, my team has been conducting a comprehensive audit of Pinnacle's practices. The 3 people who stepped forward earlier move closer, professional, purposeful, like pieces on a chessboard sliding into position. What we found goes far beyond tonight's performance. Dr. Phoenix nods to the first person, a tall man in a navy suit who looks like he's spent his entire career in courtrooms. James Morrison, Chief Legal Counsel, Phoenix Dynamics. The second person steps forward, a woman with kind eyes and the bearing of someone who's spent years fighting battles most people never hear about. Dr. Lisa Park, Head of Corporate Ethics. The third person is younger, but there's something in his expression that suggests he's seen things that would make hardened executives lose sleep. Michael Torres, Director of Internal Investigations. Marcus Webb finally finds his voice. This is impossible. The board would have been notified. There are SEC requirements, federal disclosure laws. Dr. Phoenix tilts her head, studying him with what might be pity. Marcus, you really should read the fine print in your own contracts, particularly the sections about emergency acquisition protocols and material adverse change clauses. James Morrison opens a leather portfolio, pulling out a thick document. Under Delaware corporate law, when a company faces imminent legal or financial catastrophe, acquisition procedures can be expedited through federal fast-track provisions. All notifications were filed properly. All legal requirements were met. The question, Dr. Phoenix says, is why none of you were paying attention. The live stream viewer count hits 10,000. Comments pour in from around the world. Screenshots flood social media. Pinnacle scandal evolves into Phoenix Rising. Sarah finds her voice, but it comes out as a croak. What did the audit find? Dr. Phoenix's smile doesn't reach her eyes. I'm glad you asked. She pulls out a tablet, swiping to reveal the first page of what appears to be a massive report. The title is visible even from across the room. Pinnacle Industries, Systematic Failures, 2019-2024. The audit uncovered something that makes tonight's discrimination look like a minor infraction. Her finger hovers over the screen. Something that involves falsified safety reports, buried harassment complaints, and a pattern of systematic cover-ups, reaching the highest levels of this company. The room falls silent except for the sound of notifications pinging from dozens of phones. The story is spreading faster than anyone can contain it. But we're not going to discuss it here, Dr. Phoenix says, closing the tablet. In front of cameras, in front of witnesses who had nothing to do with the decisions that brought us to this moment. She looks directly at Marcus Webb. We're going to discuss it upstairs, in the boardroom, with lawyers present, with everything properly documented. Webb's hands shake as he loosens his tie. You can't just take over a company like this. I didn't take over anything, Dr. Phoenix replies. I bought it, fair and square, through legal channels, with proper documentation, the same way any other acquisition happens in corporate America. She pauses, letting that sink in. The only difference is that you didn't see it coming. Dr. Lisa Park steps forward, her voice gentle but firm. The emergency board meeting will convene in 15 minutes. Conference room A. All current board members are required to attend. This is a hostile takeover, board member Richard Torres stammers. This is corporate warfare. No, Dr. Phoenix says, her voice carrying the weight of absolute certainty. This is consequences. She turns to address the crowd, many of whom are still recording, still live streaming, still broadcasting every word to a rapidly growing global audience. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for disrupting your evening, but sometimes disruption is the only way to create change. The security guards who started this confrontation stand frozen, unsure whether to apologize or run. The executives who witness the discrimination shift uncomfortably, suddenly aware that their reactions are being judged by thousands of strangers. The real question, Dr. Phoenix says, is what happens next. She heads toward the elevator, followed by her team. Marcus Webb and the board members trail behind like prisoners walking to their own execution. The elevator doors slide open. Dr. Phoenix steps inside, then turns back to face the crowd. "Oh, and one more thing," she says, her voice carrying across the suddenly silent lobby. "The keynote address has been canceled, but don't worry. The elevator doors begin to close. The real show is just beginning." The 47th floor boardroom feels like a tomb. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the city, but nobody's admiring the view. The mahogany table that's hosted billion-dollar deals and merger negotiations now serves as a battlefield where careers will die and empires will crumble. Dr. Phoenix takes her seat at the head of the table, not Marcus Webb's usual chair. The chair reserved for the chairman of the board, because as of 6 hours ago, that's exactly what she is. Webb sits to her right, his face the color of old parchment. Sarah clutches a glass of water with both hands, her knuckles white. The 5 remaining board members look like they're attending their own funeral. "Before we begin," Dr. Phoenix says, activating the room's presentation system, "I want to show you something." The wall-mounted screen flickers to life. The first slide appears. Pinnacle Industries, the Phoenix Audit Confidential. 6 months ago, Phoenix Dynamics began what we call a deep dive acquisition analysis, standard practice before any major purchase. We examine financials, legal exposure, operational efficiency, and corporate culture. She clicks to the next slide. A photograph of the building they're sitting in, taken from street level. Timestamp, January 15th, 2024. We started with public records, SEC filings, annual reports, the information every investor has access to. What we found was interesting. The next slide shows a graph, revenue projections versus actual performance. The gap between the two lines grows wider each quarter. Pinnacle has been systematically overstating revenue for the past 3 years. Not by huge amounts, just enough to meet Wall Street expectations, just enough to keep stock prices stable. Marcus Webb's voice comes out as a whisper. That's impossible. Our auditors would have caught that." "Your auditors did catch it," Dr. Phoenix replies. Which brings us to our next discovery. The screen changes. Email headers. Dozens of them. All marked confidential and at her nation privilege. Feels. Emails document a pattern of financial manipulation going back to 2019. Payments to auditing firms. Payments to regulatory officials. Payments to make problems disappear. Sarah's water glass slips from her hands, crashing to the floor. Nobody moves to clean it up. But financial fraud was just the beginning. Dr. Phoenix continues. The real story emerged when we started looking at your HR records. The next slide hits like a sledgehammer. A spreadsheet with hundreds of rows. Each row represents a person. Each person represents a buried complaint. 847 harassment complaints filed between 2019 and 2024. 791 of them were either dismissed, buried, or resulted in the complainant leaving the company. The room is dead silent except for the hum of the air conditioning and the distant sound of traffic 47 floors below. We tracked down every single person on this list. Every single complaint, every single instance where Pinnacle Industries chose to protect perpetrators instead of victims. Dr. Phoenix stands, walking to the window. The city spreads out below her like a circuit board, millions of lights connecting in an endless network of power and possibility. But here's where it gets interesting, she says, not turning around. We discovered that many of these complaints weren't just buried. They were actively suppressed through a network of legal agreements, financial incentives, and in some cases, outright intimidation. She turns back to face the room. A network that goes all the way to the top. Marcus Webb's hands shake as he reaches for his phone. I need to call my lawyer. Your lawyer already knows, Dr. Phoenix says. We contacted him 2 hours ago, along with the lawyers for everyone else in this room. They are all declining to represent you in this matter. The color drains from Webb's face. That's not possible. When you're facing federal charges for securities fraud, racketeering, and conspiracy to obstruct justice, most attorneys prefer to avoid the conflict of interest. Board member Richard Torres finally finds his voice. You're bluffing. You have to be bluffing. Dr. Phoenix returns to her seat, pulling out a thick folder. Michael, would you care to explain what we found in the offshore accounts? Michael Torres, the Director of Internal Investigations, opens his own folder. Over the past 18 months, we've traced $47 million in payments from Pinnacle Industries to various shell companies registered in the Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands, and Luxembourg. Executive order. He slides photocopied documents across the table. Bank statements, wire transfer records, corporate registration papers. These payments were disguised as consulting fees, legal expenses, and research and development costs. In reality, they were hush money, payments to silence victims, buy off investigators, and ensure that certain information never saw the light of day. Sarah's voice is barely audible. How did you get access to offshore banking records? Dr. Lisa Park speaks for the first time since entering the room. We didn't hack anything. We didn't break any laws. We simply followed the paper trail that you left behind. She opens her own folder, revealing printed emails, text messages, and phone records. Every electronic communication, every financial transaction, every attempt to cover up your crimes was documented somewhere. And Phoenix Dynamics has access to some of the most sophisticated financial forensics tools in the world. The implications hit the room like a physical force. These aren't just personnel issues or minor policy violations. This is organized criminal activity. This is the kind of corruption that destroys companies and sends executives to federal prison. The FBI has been notified, Dr. Phoenix says calmly. The SEC has been notified. The Department of Justice has been notified. And, as of 1 hour ago, sealed indictments have been issued for 6 individuals connected to this conspiracy. She looks around the table, making eye contact with each person in turn. 3 of those individuals are sitting in this room right now. The silence that follows is deafening. Outside, the city continues its endless dance of lights and movement. Inside, 6 people contemplate the collapse of everything they've built over decades of corporate climbing. But here's the thing, Dr. Phoenix continues, her voice taking on a different tone. I'm not here for revenge. I'm not here to destroy lives or ruin families. I'm here to offer you a choice. She activates the presentation system again. The new slide shows a single word: consequences. Option 1, You cooperate fully with the federal investigation. You provide complete disclosure of all illegal activities. You submit to independent auditing of all personal finances. And you accept immediate termination with forfeiture of all stock options and retirement benefits. The next slide. Alternative. Option 2. You force me to turn over everything we've discovered to federal prosecutors, the SEC, and every major media outlet in the country. You face criminal charges, civil lawsuits, and the complete destruction of your professional reputations. Your families face financial ruin. Your names become synonymous with corporate corruption. Marcus Webb's voice cracks. What do you want from us? I want you to understand that your actions have consequences, Dr. Phoenix replies. I want you to understand that the culture you created, the systems you built, the people you hurt, all of it stops today. She stands again, walking to the presentation controls. But most importantly, I want you to understand that tonight, what happened in that lobby wasn't an accident. It wasn't a case of mistaken identity or unfortunate timing. The screen changes one final time. Security camera footage from the lobby, multiple angles, high-definition video of every moment from the initial confrontation to Dr. Phoenix's revelation. We needed to document the culture. We needed evidence of how this company treats people it considers beneath its notice. We needed proof of the systematic discrimination that's been hiding behind closed doors for years. The footage shows everything. The security guard's initial approach, the crowd's reaction, the phone cameras, the live stream, the casual cruelty of executives who assumed they were witnessing the humiliation of someone powerless. You gave us everything we needed, Dr. Phoenix says. On camera, in front of witnesses, with the entire world watching. She clicks off the presentation system. The room falls into darkness, except for the city lights streaming through the windows. The question now is whether you're going to make this easy or difficult. The silence stretches for 30 seconds. 47 floors above the street, 6 people sit in darkness, contemplating the end of everything they've built. Dr. Phoenix breaks the silence with surgical precision. You have exactly 60 seconds to decide. She activates her phone's timer. The digital countdown begins. 59, 58, 57. After that, I make a series of phone calls that will change your lives forever. Marcus Webb's voice comes out as a croak. This is extortion. No, Marcus, this is accountability. 52, 51, 50. James, Dr. Phoenix says to her legal counsel, please explain the federal statutes we're dealing with here. James Morrison opens his briefcase, pulling out a thick legal document. Under the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, commonly known as RICO, the systematic pattern of illegal activity we've documented carries mandatory minimum sentences of 20 years in federal prison. 45, 44, 43. The Securities and Exchange Commission violations alone carry potential fines of up to $50 million per defendant. Personal liability, not corporate liability. Sarah's voice is barely audible. Our families, our children, should have been a consideration before you decided to build a criminal enterprise. Dr. Phoenix replies without looking up from her phone. 38, 37, 36. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act specifically addresses executive responsibility for corporate fraud. As CEO, Marcus, you're personally liable for every falsified financial statement, every buried harassment complaint, every dollar that disappeared into those offshore accounts. Webb's hands shake as he reaches for a pen. What exactly are you asking us to sign? Full confession, complete cooperation, asset forfeiture agreements. And most importantly, your immediate resignation from all positions within any publicly traded company. 30, 29, 28. Dr. Lisa Park slides documents across the table. The harassment victims deserve justice. The employees who were silenced deserve their voices back. The shareholders who were defrauded deserve restitution. We've established a $50 million victim compensation fund, Dr. Phoenix continues, to be funded entirely through forfeiture of executive assets, stock options, retirement accounts, real estate holdings, offshore investments. Board member Richard Torres finally speaks. You're asking us to give up everything. I'm asking you to return what you stole. 20, 19, 18. Michael Torres opens his folder, revealing bank statements and property records. Between the six of you, we've identified $237 million in assets that can be traced directly to the criminal activities documented in our investigation. Your primary residences will be protected, Dr. Phoenix says. Your children's college funds will be protected. But everything else? The vacation homes, the yacht clubs, the country club memberships, the art collections, all of it goes to compensate the people you've hurt. 15, 14, 13. Sarah's pen hovers over the documents. If we sign this, what happens to the criminal charges? The federal prosecutors will take your cooperation into consideration during sentencing, James Morrison replies. But there will be consequences. Prison time is unavoidable. The question is whether you're looking at 5 years or 25 years. 9. 8. Marcus Webb's voice cracks. I have a daughter starting college next year. So did Jennifer Martinez, Dr. Phoenix says, her voice like ice. The engineer who filed a harassment complaint in 2021. The complaint you personally ordered buried. She was forced to leave the company, lost her health insurance, and had to take out massive loans to pay for her daughter's medical treatment. 7. 6. 5. So did David. No relation to Sarah, despite the name. The whistleblower who tried to report the financial irregularities in 2022. The man who was blacklisted from the entire industry after you made a few phone calls to your friends at competing companies. 4. 3. 2. Your families will survive this, Dr. Phoenix says. Their families barely did. 1. The timer hits 0. Dr. Phoenix looks up from her phone. Time's up. She dials a number. The phone rings once before connecting. Director Harrison, this is Dr. Amara Phoenix. Yes, we're ready to proceed with the federal warrants. What's that? They want to cooperate? Hold on. She looks across the table at 6 faces that have aged a decade in the past hour. Last chance, but the terms just changed. You had 60 seconds to make this easy. Now it's going to be difficult. Webb grabs the pen with shaking hands. What are the new terms? Public confession, press conference, full disclosure to shareholders, and you personally present the victim compensation checks to every single person your company harmed. She mutes the phone. Still interested in cooperating? Sarah signs first, her signature barely legible through her tears. Then Torres. Then the other board members, one by one, until only Marcus Webb remains. Marcus, Dr. Phoenix says, you have 30 seconds to decide whether you want to be led out of this building in handcuffs or walk out with whatever dignity you have left. Webb signs the document, his signature a broken scrawl across the bottom of the page. Dr. Phoenix unmutes her phone. Director Harrison? We have full cooperation. Yes, all documents will be transferred within the hour. Thank you. She hangs up and activates the presentation system one final time. The screen shows a new organizational chart. Phoenix Pinnacle Corporation appears at the top, with Dr. Phoenix listed as chairman and CEO. Effective immediately, Pinnacle Industries is dissolved. Phoenix Pinnacle Corporation will take its place, with a completely new leadership structure, new policies, and new priorities. She clicks to the next slide. Immediate changes. First, every harassment complaint from the past 5 years will be reopened and investigated by an independent third-party firm. Victims will be compensated. Perpetrators will be terminated. Second, all financial statements will be audited by 3 separate firms. Any discrepancies will be reported to the SEC immediately. Third, a new corporate ethics board will be established with veto power over all major decisions. No executive will have the authority to bury complaints or silence whistleblowers. She clicks again. The Phoenix Protocol. We're implementing an AI-powered monitoring system that will analyze all corporate communications for signs of discrimination, harassment, or financial impropriety. Every email, every text message, every phone call will be subject to algorithmic review. Fourth, quarterly public reports on diversity, inclusion, and ethics compliance. Full transparency, no hidden settlements, no buried complaints. Marcus Webb's voice is barely audible. What about us? What happens to us now? You're fired, Dr. Phoenix says simply. Security will escort you from the building. Your personal effects will be shipped to your homes. Your access to all corporate systems has been revoked. She stands, walking to the window again. The city spreads out below, but now it looks different. Like a chessboard, where all the pieces have been reset. You'll report to federal authorities Monday morning. You'll begin serving your sentences within 6 months. And for the rest of your lives, you'll be known as the executives who turned one of America's most successful tech companies into a criminal enterprise. She turns back to face the room. But here's what you won't be remembered for. You won't be remembered as the people who got away with it. You won't be remembered as the executives who were too powerful to prosecute. You won't be remembered as the men who silenced their victims. The elevator doors open. Federal agents in dark suits step out, followed by building security. You'll be remembered as the executives who got caught, who faced consequences, who proved that no one, absolutely no one, is above the law. As the former leadership of Pinnacle Industries is escorted from the building, Dr. Phoenix remains at the window, looking out at the city that never sleeps. Tomorrow, the real work begins. But tonight, justice has been served. 6 months later, the transformation is complete. The sign outside Meridian Tower reads Phoenix Pinnacle Corporation in sleek titanium letters. But the real changes run deeper than corporate branding. They run into the soul of how business gets done in America. Dr. Phoenix stands in the same lobby where her humiliation was broadcast to the world. The marble floors gleam under the same crystal chandeliers. But everything else has changed. The security guard who started it all approaches her desk. His name is Robert Martinez, and he's been through 60 hours of bias training, diversity workshops, and cultural sensitivity seminars. More importantly, he's been through the hardest training of all, confronting his own assumptions. Dr. Phoenix, he says, his voice careful but genuine. I wanted to thank you for giving me a second chance. She looks up from her tablet where she's reviewing the quarterly ethics report. Robert, you earned that second chance. The question is what you do with it. Yes, ma'am. I understand that now. The Phoenix Protocol has been monitoring every interaction, every conversation, every decision within the company for 6 months. The AI system flags potential discrimination before it becomes harassment. It identifies patterns of bias before they become policy. It gives victims a voice before they're silenced. The results speak for themselves. Employee satisfaction has increased 340%. Not because people are afraid to speak up, but because they finally feel heard. Productivity is up 27%. Innovation metrics have doubled. When people feel safe, they perform better. But the real victory is in the numbers that matter most. 0 harassment complaints have been buried. 0 victims have been silenced. 0 executives have escaped consequences for their actions. The Victim Compensation Fund has distributed $47 million to 847 people. Not as hush money. Not as legal settlements with non-disclosure agreements. As acknowledgement. As justice. As proof that their voices matter. Jennifer Martinez, the engineer who was forced to leave the company, now serves as Phoenix Pinnacle's Director of Employee Advocacy. Her daughter is healthy, her medical bills are paid, her career is back on track. David, the whistleblower who is blacklisted, now heads the new Corporate Transparency Division. His job is to ensure that what happened to him never happens to anyone else. The former executives face a different reality. Marcus Webb was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison. His assets were seized, his reputation destroyed, his legacy reduced to a cautionary tale told in business schools across the country. Sarah received 8 years. She's serving her sentence at a minimum security facility, teaching literacy classes to other inmates. It's the first honest work she's done in years. The board members received sentences ranging from 5 to 10 years. Their country club memberships have been revoked, their yacht club privileges canceled, their names removed from hospital wings and university buildings. But the real punishment isn't prison, it's irrelevance. They've been erased from the industry they once controlled. Dr. Phoenix receives a notification on her tablet. The quarterly diversity report is ready for review. She opens it, scanning the metrics that would have been impossible 6 months ago. Leadership diversity, 60% women, 45% people of color. Not because of quotas, but because barriers were removed. Not because of tokenism, but because talent was finally recognized. Pay equity, 100%. Every employee receives equal compensation for equal work. No exceptions, no excuses. No hidden disparities. Complaint resolution. Average time from filing to resolution is 14 days. Not 14 months, not 14 years, 14 days. The Phoenix Protocol has been licensed to 47 other Fortune 500 companies. The technology that monitors for discrimination and harassment is spreading across corporate America like a virus of accountability. But technology alone didn't create this change. People did. Dr. Phoenix walks to the window overlooking the city, the same view that Marcus Webb once enjoyed from his executive office. But she sees something different in those lights. She sees possibility. She sees justice. She sees a future where corporate power serves humanity instead of exploiting it. Her phone buzzes. A text message from her daughter, who's finishing her senior year at Stanford. Mom, I saw the news about the congressional testimony. So proud of you for changing the world. Love you. Next week, Dr. Phoenix will testify before Congress about corporate accountability. She'll explain how the Phoenix Protocol works. She'll detail the systematic changes that transformed a criminal enterprise into a model of ethical business practice. But more importantly, she'll tell the story of what happens when consequences finally catch up with power. The elevator doors open. Dr. Lisa Park steps out, carrying a folder marked Confidential. The FBI investigation is complete, she says. They found connections to 17 other companies, similar patterns of discrimination, harassment, and financial fraud. Dr. Phoenix nods. And Phoenix Dynamics is interested in conducting acquisition audits on all 17 companies. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of justice. Dr. Phoenix smiles. The same smile she gave in this lobby 6 months ago, when she realized that everything was about to change. Schedule the meetings, all of them, because justice isn't a single moment. It's not a single victory. It's a systematic transformation that requires constant vigilance, endless courage, and the absolute refusal to accept that this is just how things are. The phoenix rises from ashes, but it also ensures that the fire never dies. In corporate America, the fire of accountability is just beginning to burn. 1 year later, Dr. Amara Phoenix stands at a podium in the Hart Senate office building, facing a room full of lawmakers, journalists, and corporate executives. The hearing is titled Corporate Accountability in the Digital Age: Lessons from the Phoenix Protocol. Behind her, a massive screen displays the numbers that tell the story of systematic change. 47 Fortune 500 companies have implemented the Phoenix Protocol. Discrimination complaints have dropped 78% industry-wide. Employee satisfaction has reached historic highs. But the most important number is this: 0 executives have escaped consequences for criminal behavior in the past 12 months. Senators, Dr. Phoenix begins, her voice carrying the same quiet authority that silenced a room of corporate criminals. The question isn't whether we can create accountability in corporate America. The question is whether we have the courage to demand it. She clicks to the next slide. A photograph of that marble lobby taken exactly 1 year ago, the moment when everything changed. This story began with a single assumption: that I didn't belong in that room, that I wasn't worthy of respect, that I could be dismissed, humiliated, and forgotten without consequences. The room is silent. Senators lean forward. Journalists scribble notes. Corporate executives shift uncomfortably in their seats. But here's what they didn't understand. Every person who's ever been looked down upon, every employee who's ever been silenced, every victim who's ever been ignored, we all belong in that room. We all deserve respect. We all have the power to demand change. She pauses, letting the words settle. The Phoenix Protocol isn't just technology. It's a mirror. It shows us who we really are when we think no one is watching. It reveals the culture we've built when we're comfortable with our power. The next slide shows the faces of the 847 people who received compensation from the Victim Fund. Engineers and janitors, executives and interns. Every color, every gender, every background imaginable. These are the people who were told their voices didn't matter, who were told to stay quiet, move on, accept that this is just how things are. They're the reason we're here today. She clicks to the final slide. A single question in bold letters. What happens next? The transformation of corporate America isn't complete. It's just beginning. Every company that implements the Phoenix Protocol, every executive who chooses accountability over cover-up, every employee who finds the courage to speak up, every person who refuses to accept discrimination as normal. Dr. Phoenix steps away from the podium, walking closer to the audience. But change doesn't happen in boardrooms or congressional hearings. It happens in moments, in the split second when someone decides to stand up instead of staying silent, when someone chooses justice over comfort, when someone refuses to be invisible anymore. She looks directly into the cameras that are broadcasting this hearing to millions of people around the world. Every person watching this has a choice. You can accept the world as it is, or you can demand the world as it should be. You can stay silent when you witness injustice, or you can speak up. You can assume someone doesn't belong, or you can ask yourself why you made that assumption. The hearing room erupts in applause, but Dr. Phoenix isn't finished. Share this story. Tell people about the Phoenix Protocol. Show them that accountability is possible, that justice is achievable, that no one, absolutely no one, is too powerful to face consequences. She returns to the podium for her final words. The Phoenix doesn't just rise from ashes. It ensures that the fire never dies. The fire of justice, the fire of accountability, the fire of change. Comment below, what workplace injustice have you witnessed that needs to be exposed? Share this video if you believe in accountability over comfort. Subscribe for more stories of justice over power. Because the revolution isn't coming, it's already here, and it's unstoppable.